Well, it is an aggressive move, and the size of this rate hike indicates the urgency of the problem that the Federal Reserve believes it's dealing with, which is inflation running at 40-year highs, and inflation that doesn't seem to be temporary. The US Federal Reserve has known for a while that price rises are bedeviling the US economy, but there are certain external factors like the war in Ukraine and the shutdowns that we've seen in China in regards to the pandemic and the issue that that's having with supply chains. The Federal Reserve says there's very little they can do about those external factors. All they can really do is try to bring down some of the heat in the US economy, bring down some of the demand, and so that hopefully they can start to see a stabilisation in prices to try to get it closer to the 2% target. The last inflation number we received in the United States had inflation running over the year at 8.6%. That's the fastest rate in 41 years, and it's just far too high for the US Federal Reserve to be comfortable with. So we did hear earlier from Jerome Powell, he's the chair of the Federal Reserve, explaining why the Federal Reserve felt the need to pull the trigger at this point.
The economy and the country have been through a lot over the past 2.5 years and have proved resilient. It is essential that we bring inflation down if we are to have a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. The labor market is extremely tight, and inflation is much too high. Against this backdrop, today the Federal Open Market Committee raised its policy interest rate by 0.75 of a percentage point and anticipates that ongoing increases in that rate will be appropriate.
That last point is particularly important. They've hiked interest rates by 0.75 of a percentage point today, but indicating that a lot more could be on the agenda. Markets now pricing in a real possibility of a further 0.75 of a percentage point rise at the next meeting that comes at the end of July. And this will have ramifications for Australia. We know the Australian Federal Reserve recently hiked interest rates by 0.5 percentage point, and the experts I'm speaking to indicate that a 0.75 of a percentage point rise could be on the agenda for Australia as well. Inflation is a global problem, and now that the US central bank, the biggest central bank in the world, has pulled the trigger on this size of an increase, it's likely other central banks will follow in suit.
Carrington Clark, thank you.